Okay.
My name is Jason Pattis. This is Jake Goodman, Jennifer Norris, Corey Bowles, Mohammed Ben. And today we are going to do our persuasive presentation on the Idaho Food Bank. To start this presentation, I'd like to ask you guys a couple questions. If you're uncomfortable, you don't have to answer. But the first one is, in a show of hands, how many of you have ever felt like you were literally on the brink of starvation? And how many of you have ever wondered where your next meal would come from or what it would be? Alright, now think to yourself, in the future or now, depending on if you have a family of your own or not, how can I or could I guarantee my loved ones that they'd have a meal on the table and they'd be well taken care of? It is a well-known fact that families around this country are struggling to provide or put meals on the table for their loved ones. Poverty goes hand in hand with our sapped economy to deprive these families of one of the necessities to survive. Fortunately, this problem has been targeted by a national organization called the Food Bank, which today we are going to explain to you the how, what, and where we can handle this national problem of starving families. We have a brief video to show you guys. It's pretty much just showing you the desperation that some families go through to put food on the table for their families. If there is one thing you take away from this video, it's going to be the numbers, or from this presentation, it's going to be the numbers you see in this video. So. Our group volunteered at the Idaho Food Bank, which is located only a couple miles off the Boise State campus on Vista. This visit sparked realization to all of us, as I speak for my group, that how well we have life given to us, pretty much. On a personal level, I feel like I can reach out to this organization by making small food donations, money donations, volunteering time, and they emphasize, the workers and volunteers at the warehouse really emphasize that just a helping hand will guide family to put food on their tables for their loved ones. I hope you all tune into this presentation and you learn something that you can do to help some struggling people of our nation, let alone our state, as we explain to you the how, what, and where we can handle this national problem of starving families.
In the Washington Post, there was an article written by Robert Ager about the 5 myths of hunger in America. The first myth is that nobody goes hungry in America. And everybody knows this isn't true, but according to feedingamerica.com, 50.1 million people in America are food insecure now. In Idaho, that comes out to be about 1 in 6, and that puts us in number 20 in the nation. The second myth is ending malnourishment is merely a humanitarian concern, and that's, while it is something that all humanitarians should work on, it also becomes a long-term issue. Kids that go hungry are more likely to drop out of school and have educational issues, and eventually they could end up in prison and cause even bigger problems for the whole system. In America, there are 16.7 million children that go hungry. In Idaho, it's just under 100,000. In 2012, 26% of the people that the Idaho Food Bank helped were children. Children are the only people that go hungry in America is another myth. Feedingamerica.org says 26.5 million people between the ages of 18 and 64 are in poverty, and 3.6 million are 65 and older. And these people probably need assistance in some form or another. The Idaho Food Bank this year helped 54 adults, or 54% of the population was adults, and 20% of the population were seniors. The fourth myth is that the food that America wastes could feed everybody. But if you think about the food that you guys throw away, most of it is expired or rotted and it can't be eaten anyways. So that's just not something that's factual. And the last myth is that hunger is about food. While it is partially about food, there's also the further concern of the family just doesn't have the jobs to pay for the food. And a few other facts about Idaho. In 2012, 11.4 million pounds of food were distributed. In 2011, it was 10.6 million. In 2010, it was 8.9 million. And in 2009, it was 6.8 million pounds of food that was distributed. So there's a steady incline from year to year.
As John made evident, there's obviously a problem of not having enough food for our country, for our state. Fortunately, there's an organization called the Idaho Food Bank. The Idaho Food Bank has been providing food for the starving population for over 25 years. Completely independent, nonprofit organization. The Idaho Food Bank relies on individual donations, corporate donations, and grants for their funding. Give you a little history here. In 1967, starting from the basic idea of giving closely expired food to the hungry population rather than the eternally bloated dumpsters, a man by the name of John Van Hengel started what would soon become an incredibly successful way to give food to the starving population. Even 40 years ago, what would soon become the Idaho Food Bank was vastly successful. And though they struggled a little bit for obtaining the necessities to start a food bank, by the year 1985, they distributed over 250,000 pounds of food. And that number continued to grow all the way until 2012, as previously said. 11.4 million pounds were distributed. And I'll give you the numerical perspective on that. The revenue for 2012 was $22.7 million. Nowadays, to acquire these immense amounts of food, the Idaho Food Bank holds events and food drives for the public. Currently, the Hope for the Holidays turkey drive is in effect. Food, namely turkeys, can be brought to any of the Idaho food banks, or the food banks. Fortunately, if you need the food, you can still contribute to the Idaho Food Bank by offering your own effort and time. My group and I volunteered quite recently. Basically all we did is we went there and there's these massive bags of pinto beans. All we did was scoop them, put them in bags, stamped them, threw them in some boxes, and it was as simple as that. It was actually kind of fun. We had some special bro talk and little girl talk too. Additionally, there's also some volunteer work where you just put food into backpacks and send them specifically to little kids. So basically, you can contribute small amounts of your time and effort to help out the food bank.
Like my group said, Idaho Food Bank allowed people to have food, access food at all time with no cost. And it's like to provide them like a healthy life for all household members. And there's a couple programs that the Idaho Food Bank provides for the people here. There's one of them, it's the backpack program. It's allowed kids at school to take enough food for them to survive for the weekend. So when they come on Monday, they will be happy, more energized, and they are really work harder than than they are. According to Idaho Food Bank teachers, so improvement for those kids who using this program, taking this food home and share it with the family. They came Monday, they work harder in their school, they're smile, they're really better. So it's really making an impact on the kids in the school. And not just that, there's different programs, a lot of programs for Idaho Food Bank provides for the people here with no pets. And there's another thing that Idaho Food Bank provides. It's the teaching people how to cook food in the right way, like healthier food, and teach them how to make like from the local food to make it like last longer and healthier and better for them. And pretty much that helps people to have food for longer time and any time. And
So sadly, there's millions of people across the nation that can't afford to put food on their tables every day. There's many children that don't know where their next meal will come from. According to BoiseWeekly.com, 16% of Idahoans were labeled as food insecure, as we already talked about, which basically means that they were unable to get enough food to maintain any kind of proper nutrition or healthy lifestyle. Fortunately, there's ways that we can all help. The Idaho Food Bank accepts all kinds of donations, whether it's money or canned foods or even donations of our own time. For any of you that may be interested, we encourage you to check out their website, idahofoodbank.org. Contact a coordinator to find out how you can volunteer in their warehouse. You can even become an employee with them at no salary. Obviously, it's not a glamorous job and you won't make money doing it, but at least you know that you can help make a difference in the lives of someone that are less fortunate than yourself. The Idaho Food Bank is always looking for people to come help out in their warehouses, sorting canned foods, putting together food baskets, the backpacks for the kids, and bagging perishable items like bread, meat, and dairy products. There are opportunities to participate in or even sponsor your own canned food drive. I'm sure we've all seen the big bins at churches or some grocery stores have them. We probably all remember elementary school. We had competitions between classes to see who could bring in the most goods. And that's all that it takes is people like us donating a few things that we have to people that don't have access to them. Small donations really do make a tremendous difference. The holiday season is upon us, and while many of us may be cozy and comfy in our homes with our families, there are many people across the nation and in Idaho that won't know what it's like to have a home-cooked holiday meal. So we implore you to take a look into your hearts, maybe give a few cans of those vegetables you swore you were going to eat, but we know they're just collecting dust in your cupboards. Ramen noodles, you can buy them for 16 cents at Winco. We all know that's a staple in college kids' diets these days because they're so inexpensive. But there are still people out there that can't even afford that. Just remember, every little bit helps, and volunteers help make the collection and distribution of foods possible. After all, who wouldn't want help and assistance from other people when they really need it? So this concludes our presentation on the Idaho Food Bank. Thank you all for your attention. Are there any